Hello, and welcome to the latest HR on the Offensive live stream. It's me, Chris Howard from Lace Partners. Thank you to those of you that are checking in to our latest live stream. And today we have one of our wonderful friends and partners from an organization called Dragonfish. It's Neil Cluley. Neil, how are you doing, sir? You all right?
I'm very well, Chris. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me on this live stream.
It's absolutely great to have you on. Now, we're going to talk about people and culture. A tiny bit on the naming convention, but actually we're going to zone in on the culture part of it. But before we do that, it might be worthwhile because there might be some people that haven't met you or seen you before. So do you want to just give us a minute on Dragonfish and what you guys do and yourself?
Thanks, Chris. I'm the Chief Culture Officer and the lead consultant at Dragonfish. We're a culture and performance consultancy. Our purpose is to help make work more meaningful, unlocking potential. And we believe that culture is a hugely important driving force for high performance. It can be shaped, it can be measured. There's huge power in really focusing on culture alignment to achieve bold visions and to deliver great outcomes for customers, people, and all your stakeholders. So yeah, we've been working now with over 85 brands over the last 9 years across multiple different sectors. We've got a mix of people from customer backgrounds, brand backgrounds, change, HR, and operational backgrounds all coming together to support our clients. And great to be partners with Lace Partners on a number of exciting transformations over the last few years.
Yeah, we love working with you guys at Dragonfish. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit around this people and culture team. And you and I had a conversation a few weeks ago now, just talking about how we've seen, and I'm sure you guys have seen, this trend of, the naming convention of the HR, the human resources team, and then the people team. And we're seeing more and more organizations called the people and culture team. Like I said right at the top of the live stream, we don't really want to dwell too much on the whole naming convention, but I think it does throw up quite an interesting discussion around who owns culture. And so I'd love to just get some thoughts from you. Maybe let's talk a little bit around it in the context of the people and culture team. And I guess the first real question is the role of the people team in driving culture. So can I get some thoughts for you on this?
Of course, I think it's really interesting to see how many people teams have taken on that role of leading culture. I think we still see and caution to everybody we talk to that when you talk about culture, people have different definitions. So sort of aligning on what we mean by culture is really critical. But yeah, I mean, if there was three things that we really see the role of the people and culture team leading and driving culture, it would be, making sure, first of all, that we're leading and aligning the right people strategy with the vision, purpose, and strategy of the organization. When a people strategy is really fundamentally connected and wired to delivering the vision, purpose, the ambition of the organization, that's when people is really the people function really adding the biggest difference, and it's fundamental in shaping the right culture. So it's really simple when you say it like that, but it's really fundamental. The second thing we'd say is sort of managing and shaping the people experience, that holistic end-to-end people experience, so that everyone experiences the desired culture, but also that everyone can contribute to a positive and thriving culture. So we always say that it's everybody within an organization that shapes a culture or makes up a culture within the organization. So we're very keen to make sure we're all shaping experiences for people, but we need to also ensure that we're enabling people to be contributors, not just consumers of the culture. And then the third thing is that focus on behaviors, creating the right environment for the right behaviors to thrive, and also the wrong behaviors to be regulated and checked and learned from, to make a stronger, more resilient organization. So they don't necessarily fit into classic boxes, but I think those are three things we would always advise a people and culture team to focus on.
And with regards to that, so we're talking about who owns culture and the things that people and culture teams need to think about. But can we reflect on the role of leaders as well? So from your perspective and from a Dragonfish perspective, kind of what's the role in leaders in driving culture? Because as we've talked about, it's not just the HR, the people function, the people and cultures function that needs to own it. Leaders have their role to play too, right?
100%, 100%. You could always say that all roads come back to leaders when it comes to setting the right tone for culture. But I think what's great to see and what we're trying to encourage is leaders to really think about how brand, strategy, and culture all align and fit together. I think sometimes those elements can be worked on in separate focuses. So we'll work on brand now, we'll work on strategy now, and then we'll work on culture. I think the role of leaders today is to really understand the interconnection between those things, that internal and external alignment to deliver more effectively, more sustainably. The second thing we'd say is, working on connecting the elements takes time. It takes evidence and data, and really leaders should be understanding the data and evidence from a customer point of view, from a shareholder point of view, from a market point of view, from an internal point of view, and really working together to understand what the data is saying. Obviously, continuing to focus on setting the right tone, and then role modeling, which doesn't mean you have to be perfect. I think we see the best feedback and data coming through about leaders today through our research, but also through evidence working with organizations is where leaders are vulnerable, they're showing their learning, and they're working on themselves as individuals and as a team. Role modeling learning is as critical as living some of the key values and behaviors that are espoused. So role modeling, not being perfect, and continuing to learn, absolutely critical. So I think leaders, heads up and looking forward, building a stronger, more sustainable organization for the future, looking further out, and allowing the next levels down in the organization to really set the tone, shape the experience that people are having, both now and through change for the future. So those are just some of the things that we're encouraging leaders to spend and invest more time in doing.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good and sound advice as well. And one of the things that you guys talk about, which I really, really love, and I'd love you to just as we wrap up today's live stream, just reflect on a little bit. It's around things that HR teams should, because you guys talk about how to set up a high performing people function. Can I get you to just give some thoughts around some of the things that HR teams need to be asking themselves? Like, how do we set up a high performing people function, and how do we get the best out of our people with this idea that we've been talking around the culture lens on?
I think it's really interesting, and tricky, having been in a people team myself and led a people team globally. You're sometimes caught between the short term here and now and working on the future. And there's always something urgent and important in the focus for people teams. So it's not an easy gig. So we really see some amazing teams and people, the work that people teams are doing. So I've got to just call that out. I think what our advice would be, step back sometimes. And I think we see people teams are so close to some of those challenges that they're not always taking the time to really understand and absorb the full context. So understanding, they're so focused on people's needs, but understanding all the stakeholder needs takes time. And I think people teams need to spend more time being fluent on understanding the context, because you can't manage the culture without managing the context or understanding the context. And I think it's being brave enough to do what's right for now, not what is perceived to be best in class. That takes a lot of bravery sometimes. People want to be seen to be doing the best practice. They want to be progressive and do the right thing. It's all coming from the right place. But sometimes every organization is unique. We always say that when it comes to its culture journey and evolution. So sometimes it's braver to just do something that's right for now and build on it than always trying to shoot for the stars. So I think, hey, it's good to shoot for the stars, but I think being realistic and pragmatic is really important for people teams. So understand the context, and really do what's right. Now, I think being inclusive and evidence-led, we see a lot of great work from people teams where they're listening to what people want, but are they connecting all the data together in the right way and taking time to really think about what the people need and what the organization needs, and really making the right choices. And the other thing is getting stuff done, but don't take it all on. I think so many people are passionate about the people experience across an organization. It's everybody plays their part, as we said, in culture. So involve others, empower others, get other people working on it, because it's a big part. It should be increasingly a bigger, more regular, defined part of leaders and managers' job is to manage culture, to shape the experience. So people teams maybe are taking too much on themselves, and there might be better ways to share the load and get more done. So those are a few things we see regularly happening. I hope that's helpful observations or reflections for high performing teams to focus on.
It's amazing. Really, really amazing. Thank you very much, Neil, just for giving me 10 minutes of your time today. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. If you want to find out a little bit more about the team at Dragonfish, then please reach out to Neil. You're on LinkedIn or all of those sort of things. Website is dragonfish.co.uk.
Dragonfishuk.com, and we've got our latest research on there. So there's always some new research about culture and performance on there. So thank you very much for shouting us out, Chris, and for getting us on today.
It's been lovely to have you on. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, as I said, from myself, from Neil. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully we'll catch you next time on the HR on the Offensive live stream. Bye-bye.